And Secretary Tim Geithner just wrapping up his testimony before the House Ways and Means Committee about the aforementioned spending. And with us now is Republican ranking member, Congressman Dave Camp of Michigan. Congressman Camp, welcome to the program. Before we get to the budget, I do want to ask you a quick question. Obviously, the Toyota news is big. You are from Michigan. Obviously, a lot of Toyota's competitors are based in your home state. What do you make of the Toyota situation?
Well, I mean, it's a real change for them. I think they've been able to really hit quality over the years, and I think that really calls that into question. So I think there's an opportunity for, U.S.-based, Michigan-based manufacturers to really grab some market share here.
All right, let's get back to the matter at hand, which is the budget in your state. Again, unfortunately, with the highest unemployment rate in the nation, 14.1%. Everything is about jobs. We got this giant budget. Where are the jobs? Do you think this $3.8 trillion budget will add jobs to the nation and to Michigan?
Well, that was the exact question that I asked the Secretary of the Treasury and didn't get an answer, frankly. I asked him, are there $2 trillion in taxes in this budget? And he wouldn't answer. And frankly, if you add in the cap and trade bill in the House, that would add another trillion. So there's really $3 trillion in taxes. They want to talk about the help for small business, but they don't talk about the $260 billion in taxes that they're going to put on small business over the next 10 years. And those are the questions we wanted to ask. How can small business create jobs when you're going to tax them to that extent over the next few years, even though you're going to throw a few crumbs of some tax relief, but the whole picture is a huge tax increase. And I think that's going to make it very difficult for job creation in the future.
Well, that's what I'm trying to square here. Maybe a little tax double talk from D.C., because on one hand, you've got Secretary Geithner saying a few days ago, hey, small business tax cuts will help create jobs, and an acknowledgement that tax cuts can be helpful. Yet at the same time, there's about $1 trillion in new tax increases on many of these same people. How do we square that?
Well, that's what we were trying to get him to answer. Yes, and there are some modest tax relief for small business, but when you look at the overall budget, which is what we were trying to get the Secretary to comment on, hundreds of billions of dollars in tax increases on small business alone, trillions of dollars of tax increases on Americans, whether it's through health care or whether it's through other taxes that they're raising. That makes how do you create jobs in that environment? And I wanted to hear the Secretary of the Treasury explain to us how he thinks that these policies are going to allow for job creation. I didn't get an answer. I'm going to send him a letter and ask him to respond in writing.
All right. Well, on the Republican side, then, what is the GOP offering, right? If we're critical of the Democrats and the fact that jobs have not been created, what are the Republicans going to offer that would actually create jobs and soon?
Well, I think first you got to stop the spending increases, and they're massive spending increases in this budget, and not just this little freeze on 15% of the budget. You really need to take a serious look at that, and I also think a signal needs to be sent that taxes aren't going to go up. I think what's really preventing a lot of job creation and employers from making that decision to hire somebody else is they see their taxes going up, they see their health care costs going up. How are they going to then make ends meet by hiring another worker? So I would suggest send a signal, no tax increases, really take a serious look at spending, and we're going to have ideas and proposals to do that. Right now, though, we're debating the President's budget. It's the President's obligation to come forward with his plan, and it's our obligation to try to find out what this plan really means.
Do we believe that anything will realistically be cut out of the $3.8 trillion record budget?
Well, no, he's increasing spending. He's not really cutting spending in this budget. It increases over the next 10 years, and we're in a situation now where I think we need a more serious look at that. This commission that he's proposed has the authority to do everything but cut spending. They've specifically said to this commission, you cannot reduce spending. So, I don't know what this commission is going to do. Clearly, we got to hope for the best there. But I think it could have been structured in a better way, a more even balanced, even numbered of Republicans and Democrats, and actually give them the authority to reduce spending. And I would say to them, look, don't just go for more revenue. Take the tax issue off the table, because I think that's really hurting job creation right now.
But there are some pretty influential members, at least like Paul Krugman, he is very widely listened to, who say we need more spending, because if the private sector is not going to do it, the public sector has to do it, because if nobody does it, we won't have any job creation. In fact, maybe facing even millions more jobs lost. Your response to that?
Well, I would just say the spending that was done in stimulus didn't create any jobs. What we really need to do is make sure that employers have the kind of ability, and I think through tax relief, to invest and grow their businesses and therefore create jobs. But spending doesn't work. Stimulus proved that, and so I think to go back and say there needs to be more government spending is actually the wrong approach.
Very quickly, do you think that the so-called Volcker rule is dead?
You know, I think so. It's hard to know. I mean, there are so many balls in the air right now. I think possibly it is.
All right, Dave Camp, Congressman from Michigan. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
All right.